What if the last image Jey Uso saw before everything went black was Drew McIntyre standing over him, smiling? Welcome back to Wrestling Impact, and before we get into anything else, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now. Put down your phone, pause your music, close every other tab, because what happened on Smackdown this past Friday night was not just a wrestling moment. It was a statement. A brutal, calculated, cold-blooded statement. And the man who delivered it? Drew McIntyre. The man who received it? Jey Uso. And the aftermath? One of the most chilling scenes we have seen on WWE television in a very long time. So sit tight, because we are going deep into this one. Every punch, every detail, every emotion, we are covering it all right here on Wrestling Impact. Let's go. Now, to understand what happened Friday night, you have to understand the tension that has been building between these two men for weeks. This was never just a rivalry about championships or rankings on a card. This was personal. This was two completely different energies colliding, and it was only a matter of time before something exploded. Jey Uso walks into every arena like the crowd breathes life into him. The man feeds off energy. Yeet isn't just a catchphrase, it's a heartbeat. When Jey is locked in, when the crowd is behind him, he becomes something otherworldly in that ring. He is raw emotion channeled into athletic brilliance. And the WWE Universe? They feel that. They love him for it. They chant for him, they rally behind him, and in those moments, Jey Uso feels absolutely untouchable. Drew McIntyre sees all of that and he despises every single second of it. See, Drew operates on a completely different wavelength. He doesn't want the crowd's love. He wants their fear. He wants to walk into a room and have the temperature drop. He wants opponents to look across the ring and feel their confidence quietly crumble. Drew McIntyre is the kind of man who sharpens his sword in silence and then uses it at the worst possible moment for you. He is methodical. He is dangerous. And above all else, he is patient. He waits. He watches. And then, when the time is right, he strikes. Friday night, he struck. The Smackdown crowd was absolutely electric when Jey's music hit. You could feel it through the screen. The energy in that building was something special. Jey came out looking focused. He looked determined. The kind of look that makes you think, okay, this man is ready. He rolled his shoulders, pointed to the crowd, and for a moment, just a moment, everything felt right. But wrestling has a way of reminding you that the moment you feel safest is exactly when danger is closest. Drew McIntyre's music interrupted the segment before it even properly began. The arena shifted. It is genuinely remarkable what Drew's entrance does to a crowd. The boos cascaded down like a wave, and Drew soaked it all in with that slow, deliberate walk. No rushing. No theatrics. Just the walk of a man who has already decided what he's going to do and is simply arriving to do it. He got on the microphone, and the words he chose were not accidental. Drew does not waste words. He looked directly at Jey and said something to the effect of, "The crowd thinks you're something special. But out here, under these lights, with me in this ring, you're just another man. And I'm going to prove that to every single person in this building tonight." The crowd erupted. Jey fired back. The verbal exchange was intense, sharp, and loaded with history and tension. These two men were speaking in subtext. Every word carried the weight of weeks of confrontation. And then it happened fast. It always happens fast with Drew. The moment the referee's back was turned, Drew moved. And he moved with the precision of someone who had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in his mind. The Claymore kick, the devastating, full sprint running kick that has ended careers, cancelled title reigns, and shattered dreams, connected with Jey Uso with a sickening impact that sent the crowd into immediate, stunned silence. Not booing. Not cheering. Silence. That silence lasted only a second, but in a wrestling arena, a second of silence says everything. It means what they just witnessed didn't feel like a match spot. It didn't feel scripted. It felt real. It felt violent. And the follow-up was even worse. Drew didn't stop there. That's what you have to understand about this version of Drew McIntyre. A Claymore would have been enough. That kick alone is enough to end someone's night. But Drew crouched down, looked at the fallen Jey Uso, and then proceeded to continue the assault in a way that crossed every line. Repeated strikes. Deliberate, targeted aggression focused on Jey's ribs and neck. The kind of methodical beating that doesn't happen in the heat of rage, it happens in the cold calm of intent. Officials rushed to the ring. That never feels good to see. When the referees start actually running, not jogging, running, your stomach drops. Superstars from the back flooded the ramp. Commentators dropped their professional cadence and shifted into genuine concern. And then the medical team arrived. The WWE medical team arriving at ringside is always a sobering sight. These aren't part of the show in the way storylines are. When they show up with purpose. They moved quickly around Jey, communicating in that rapid, clipped language that medical professionals use when every second matters. You could see Jey trying to push himself up and being physically stopped gently but firmly prevented from moving. And here's the moment that hit hardest. One of the officials leaned down close to Jey, and you could see Jey shake his head slowly. Not the theatrical shake of a wrestler selling a move. The slow, disoriented movement of a man who genuinely doesn't know where he is for a moment. That visual, that single image went everywhere on social media within minutes. Drew McIntyre, meanwhile, stood at the top of the ramp. He didn't leave. He watched. He watched the medical team work on Jey. He watched the stretcher get rolled out. He watched every single moment of it with the expression of a man who was entirely satisfied with his work. He didn't smirk. He didn't gloat overtly. He just watched. Which, if you think about it, is actually more disturbing than any over-the-top celebration would have been. The arena was divided in that moment between people chanting support for Jey, people screaming at Drew, and people sitting in genuine disbelief at what they had witnessed. It was one of those rare Smackdown segments that transcends the normal rhythms of a wrestling show and becomes something you remember. And then came the news. Reports began surfacing within the hour that Jey Uso had been taken from the arena by ambulance and transported to a local hospital for evaluation. Initial reports indicated concern about a possible concussion, as well as potential rib damage from the sustained assault. The WWE medical staff had determined that the risk of keeping Jey at the venue was not worth taking, and the decision was made to get him proper care immediately. Now, for the WWE to transport a superstar to a hospital directly from an event, that is not something taken lightly. That is a significant decision. And the fact that it happened sent the wrestling world into an absolute frenzy. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every corner of wrestling fandom lit up. Fans who had been watching live shared what they had seen. People who had missed the show scrambled to find out what happened. And across every platform, the same questions were being asked over and over again. How bad is it? How long will Jey be out? And most passionately, what is WWE going to do about Drew McIntyre? Because here's where this story gets even more layered. In the world of WWE storytelling, there is always a question of accountability. When a superstar goes this far, when the line between competitive aggression and outright dangerous behavior gets crossed this clearly, the response from authority figures matters. And the response from the locker room matters even more. Word started circulating backstage that several superstars were furious. Genuinely, authentically furious. Jey Uso is beloved in that locker room. He's not just a crowd favorite, he's a locker room favorite. The kind of guy who lifts energy, who shows up for his colleagues, who bleeds for this business with everything he has. When people who care about him saw what Drew did and then saw Jey being loaded onto that stretcher, reactions were strong. There are whispers, and I want to be careful here because these are internal, but there are whispers that certain superstars went directly to WWE management demanding that Drew face consequences. Not storyline consequences. Actual, professional accountability. Whether that leads anywhere within the structure of SmackDown's authority remains to be seen. But here's what's fascinating from a storytelling standpoint. Drew McIntyre, for all of his calculated coldness, may have just done something that transforms Jey Uso's entire trajectory in WWE. Because there is nothing that creates a more powerful moment than a beloved superstar being knocked down at his absolute lowest and then finding the will to come back. Think about it. Jey Uso has had one of the most emotionally resonant journeys in WWE over the past several years. From the shadow of a legendary team to stepping fully into his own identity, earning the love of millions, standing alone in the spotlight and thriving in it. That journey has been real and people have felt every step of it. Now add this chapter. The hospital. The uncertainty. The visual of him being carried out of that arena. And then eventually the return. Because Jey Uso will return. That is not in question. The question is, what version of Jey Uso comes back through that curtain? Does he come back cautious? Does he come back reckless? Does he come back with something burning so hot inside him that Drew McIntyre, for the first time in this rivalry, feels the thing he wants others to feel: fear? That is the story being written right now. And it is a compelling one. From Drew's perspective, he has accomplished exactly what he set out to accomplish. He has sent a message to the entire roster that he is operating at a different level right now. He has established psychological dominance over one of the most popular superstars on SmackDown, and he has done it in a way that cannot be ignored or brushed aside. This is not a heated promo exchange that fades. This is a man in a hospital bed. This leaves a mark. But great antagonists in wrestling always miscalculate one thing: they confuse silencing someone with defeating them. Drew put Jey down. He shut the arena up. He cleared the ring. But he hasn't defeated Jey Uso. Not even close. Because the thing that makes Jey dangerous is not his athleticism, not his experience, not even the crowd behind him, it's his heart. And you cannot put Jey Uso's heart on a stretcher. The next few weeks on SmackDown are going to be must-watch television. Whether Jey appears via segment, via video package, via a surprise return, every moment is going to carry enormous weight. And Drew McIntyre, whether he admits it or not, is going to have to look over his shoulder. Because you don't do what he did to someone like Jey Uso and simply move on. The universe doesn't work that way. Wrestling karma doesn't work that way. This rivalry is far from over. In fact, I'd argue it's only just truly begun. And that right there is what makes WWE storytelling at its best absolutely electric. It's the moments you don't see coming. It's the silence after the kick. It's the stretcher rolling past the camera. It's Drew watching from the ramp with those cold eyes. It's the uncertainty hanging in the air like smoke. Those are the moments that remind you why you fell in love with this sport. Why you tune in every Friday night. Why you care. We here at Wrestling Impact will continue to track every update on Jey Uso's condition and will bring you the latest developments as this story evolves. We are invested in this and we know you are too. If this video fired you up the way the story fired us up, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps Wrestling Impact reach more fans just like you who care about this business as deeply as we do. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know, what do you think happens when Jey comes back? What does Drew deserve? And most importantly, what is your prediction for how this rivalry ends? Because I have mine, and I think you might be surprised. And if you are not yet subscribed to Wrestling Impact, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because we are here every single week covering the moments that matter, the stories that move you, and the wrestling that reminds all of us why this is the greatest form of entertainment on the planet. Jey Uso is down, but he is not out. And when he comes back, and he will come back, this entire thing is going to reach a level that neither Drew McIntyre nor anyone else is ready for. Yeet.